Have you ever imagined a world where you can be anything you want to be? Have you ever thought there should be a platform where you can showcase your talent, invest, establish a business, or even buy a virtual property? Maybe you're an artist or a designer looking for a platform to promote your business or rebrand your designing skills. Or you could be looking for a platform that will allow you to trade your cryptocurrencies. Well, let me introduce you to the Metaverse. Hi everyone, my name's AJ Brooks and today I'll be your guide to the Metaverse. As a concept, the Metaverse has always fascinated me and it's been a passion of mine to gain a greater understanding of what is possible throughout the new virtual world. And now I wish to share what I've learned onto you. So please grab a cup of coffee and allow me to turn you from a beginner to an expert on the wonder world of the Metaverse. So let's get started. Now, we're going to start off by answering the question, where and when did the term Metaverse first come about? You see, the term Metaverse was first used in the 1990s dystopian novel Snow Crash, where people are fleeing the crumbling real world to a fully immersed virtual one. The understanding we gain from the author's Neil Stephenson perception of it. If you think about the Metaverse as a solution, it's just technology catching up with how we currently live. We're all connected through the virtual digital spaces and access them through a phone or a computer. The Metaverse is just taking away the need for that tiny screen. If some of you are a bit younger and need a more recent pop culture reference, the Oasis universe from the film Ready Player One is an example of a fully connected, holistic metaverse, although it was portrayed as a dystopian one. Both are excellent reads and an amazing film which I highly recommend you read and watch. Now, a lot of you are mostly gamers in some way, shape or form. Am I right? Well then, would it interest you to know that one industry that's already full of metaverse type worlds is the gaming industry? If you're familiar with the video game Fortnite, you'll know that Epic is the company that created it. It's gone beyond shooting games to experiencing social, lifelike virtual music concerts and even dance parties. Users purchase dresses to put their avatars in various costumes and create their games and islands. Epic is also the mother of an enormous gaming engine called Unreal, and it used to create games and a lot of visual effects such as backdrops for TV shows, which can be scarily realistic. One of the most interesting and exciting aspects will be the emergence of original gameplay within the Metaverse, using the internal resources of the world in which they take place. But the gaming industry is just the tip of the iceberg on what the Metaverse could get involved with. Virtual reality is another area that's showing huge potential within the Metaverse, especially with the huge advancements in VR technology. The advancements in VR technology has helped see the virtual reality industry enjoy explosive growth in recent years, also helped by us all being stuck at home for the past couple of years. Investors, developers and consumers are all eager to figure out the next big thing in VR. A lot of ideas have been floating about, including ones that would use mixed reality. But one idea has emerged as indisputably the best bet for what's next. Metaverse, an open-ended virtual world platform powered by blockchain. But we'll explore a bit more about the blockchain a bit later on in the lesson. Now, the problem a lot of people have when it comes to trying to get involved within the Metaverse is down to the constraints of a keyboard and mouse. I mean, sure, the lights look cool, could even be a beautiful, expensive Razer keyboard, but the restriction is there for all to see. The idea of the Metaverse is us having the ability to see, hear and do things that contribute to a shared reality with a long-term influence. We can now express ourselves in ways we never could before due to our restriction with technology. Remember when touchscreens seemed exciting? Now they could be another piece of technology deemed too restrictive for the future. Who knows? I mean, just look at this. Remember the days of having to press X and Y? How about pulling a trigger instead? Technology is forever advancing, with the metaverse becoming ever the more important center to everything being developed. Soon, we could all be standing in our living rooms with a full armory, ready to take on your friends in the next Call of Duty. What a world, huh? Now then, that's a few of the applications of the metaverse, but I think it's about time I tell you more about the metaverse itself, don't you? Firstly, the name itself, metaverse. Well, if you take the prefix meta, this means beyond, with the stem verse being short for universe. So really, the term metaverse can be described more as beyond the universe, which is an excellent tagline, don't you think? Now, if you see that posted anywhere, let me know. I'm going to copyright it right after this. Now, broadly speaking, the metaverse can be defined as a blending of physical and digital spaces. It's a shared, fully immersive experience and the next phase of the internet. The word, however, is most commonly used at the moment as a way to describe a future version of the internet that's constituted of continuous, shared, 3D virtual environments that are interlinked into a projected virtual universe. The metaverse will be a respiratory for all distinct virtual worlds, similar to how the internet is, not controlled by a single firm. In the not too distant future, these disseparate virtual worlds will become linked and anyone will be able to access them like an app on their phone. How exciting is that? It's also a way to describe the next version of the internet, Web 3.0 if you will. To put that into more context, if you look at Web 1.0, where the internet started, it connected us to information. Then with Web 2.0, we get social media. And now we have a connection to information and people. With Web 3.0, which is just starting, the internet is connecting us to information, people, places, and things. I'll go into more detail about this later on, so don't worry. The metaverse will also incorporate 5G, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and edge computing. So it's just going to be a lot of things all brought together from a big picture level. The metaverse isn't here yet, but the individual components are currently being created and the whole thing has just not been connected yet. Different technologies need to come together for this to happen, which will take some time, but it will be well worth the wait. Trust me. Now, I understand that it's been a lot of information so far, so I've managed to summarize it somewhat in this slide. The metaverse is a digital reality that combines online gaming, social media, virtual reality, augmented reality, and cryptocurrencies to let users explore an interest virtually. A metaverse is a place where you can achieve all your dreams that prove difficult to come into manifestation in reality. Metaverse will be created to have most of the things you see, feel, and touch in reality. Metaverse gives you a second chance to be whoever you want to be, to explore, make new friends, to get away from the harsh reality of life. I do hope that makes everything a little bit clearer, but of course feel free to rewind at any point to rewatch anything I've already been through. Now, the metaverse isn't the only verse flying around nowadays. You may also all be familiar with the term multiverse, which we probably have Marvel to thank for that. These two terms are often used interchangeably, which is very, very wrong. They're two completely different worlds, and they don't mean the same thing. In fact, they're completely different. As you can see on this slide, I've bullet pointed a few key elements of the metaverse. For starters, it's one universe, one digital world that all components and users are a part of. It's a group of virtual spaces created by residents using the technology they have access to. It's something that's completely man and machine made, rather than something that just is. It's also a virtual representation of exact physical realities. By that, I mean it's almost an extension on life, on the real world, an addition to our everyday life if you will. It's fully accessible via augmented reality tool or a PC. I mean, you'll need to be able to afford some good equipment, but hey, once you've got it, you're in. It's many orders that are linked together and many diverse entities with various abilities. There can also be multiple weather and climate conditions if the creators intend on adding them, which can vary on different days. The fog can come in the summer when it's hot, as an example, and you're not going to believe this one, but yes, animals, plants, and other living beings can exist in our metaverse. Because who wouldn't love to pet a dog in virtual reality? Am I right? So that's the metaverse summed up in a few short points. Now let's take a look at the multiverse. So what is it? Well, a multiverse is a hypothetical group of unlimited universes. They all have their own physical properties and laws. It's fundamentally a subset, a division of the metaverse. Several differences exist between multiverse and metaverse, and you need to know these differences so as not to be confused when you encounter the two words. The first major difference that exists between them is the number of universes. In the multiverse, there are unlimited universes, rather than a single universe available within the metaverse. The next point is just reiterating what I've just mentioned, the fact that each universe within the multiple verse will have their own physical properties and laws, with it also being a subset or dimension of the metaverse. There's no order in the multiverse either. It's all completely random. There's just nothing that holds together or makes sense in a way. Unlike the metaverse, which has a number of orders that hold it together throughout the universe. You also cannot find any entity in the multiverse, but you'll find many different kinds of entities in the metaverse. The various entities available in the metaverse, like robots, artificial intelligence, and human beings, just cannot be found within the multiverse. Something that cannot be found in the multiverse is any weather. Again, much unlike the metaverse. In the multiverse, there are not any animals or plants either. It doesn't sound very exciting, does it? You may ask yourself why this is. Well, the main reason is that people who create virtual worlds do not want to create anything living, so they create only buildings and people for users to interact with on their worlds. So, in the multiverse, the creators and users can make whatever they want to do so, just not animals or plants apparently. Right then, let's get back to the metaverse. You may remember earlier in the video I touched on the topic of Web 3.0, the future of the internet. Well, I said I'd talk about it in more detail, so here we are. Before I get to 3.0 though, let me talk you through the previous webs we've had available to us, beginning with Web 1.0. Web 1.0 is referred to as the read-only web, where people are reading rather than writing. Think of it like a consumer's heaven. Not much interaction or creation. The content that was available would be from a very small amount of people and the masses would consume it. There were very few creators and a huge number of people consuming, so it was static in the sense that people only consumed instead of created. That's why it's called read-only. They say that Web 1.0 lasted from the beginning of the 90s right up to around 2005. Next up, we have Web 2.0. At this stage, the average users are now content creators. Not only does that include YouTube creators, but also the stuff that you guys would post as well, which include Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. You can think of Web 2.0 as the interactive and more collaborative version of Web 1.0, where the average user has now started to become a creator. It may seem like the users have a lot more control in the Web 2.0, but it's really a facade. Big companies such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, etc. have all the power technically because we rely on their platforms to create and share our content, and as a result, we give up our personal information and data to be part of such platforms. We've been in Web 2.0 for quite some time. You could almost say from the start of YouTube back in 2006, but there's no specific time period when Web 2.0 started and when it ended, or when Web 1.0 started and when it ended. But they all kind of overlap with each other. There's no exact date for when they started or when they ended. Web 2.0 can also be referred to as the read and write only of the web, but now we're getting to the future and beginning to discover Web 3.0. Web 3.0 is essentially the decentralized web where the power that was once held by the corporations is beginning to be distributed to everybody, including you and I. In Web3, the power is transferred to the people, and this is of course includes decentralization, so blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be the best examples of this. Users will have the ability to use their fiat currency, decentralized platforms without needing to trust anyone or any entity. Trust isn't needed because of the consensus protocols that exist on these blockchains, which are all hard-coded. Decentralization is going to be one of the keys to Web3, but not only that, transferring of wealth and transferring of your money is going to be the other very important aspect of it. Right now, we rely on banks such as Chase and payment transfer services such as PayPal to hold and transfer our money, but Web3 gives that power back to the user. This is mainly because banks are replaced with wallets that are only accessible by private keys that you would own, and payment transfer services are replaced with cryptocurrency or blockchains. In a bit more of a nutshell, Web3 is essentially giving power back to the people, and rather than read and write like Web 2.0, Web3 can be considered executable. If you ask me, Web3 started right around 2009 when Bitcoin was invented. Ever since then, we've technically been in the founding stages of Web3. I would say that we're still in Web 2.0 at this moment in time, but as I said before, there isn't an exact beginning and ending for these different stages of web development. But as far as I'm concerned, ever since 2009, we've been making that transition very slowly. But given what happened in 2020, it speeded up the innovation of Web3. This was mainly because of all the crazy stuff that's been happening within the world, keeping everyone at home on their computers. The people saw a lot of censorship going on with the big tech companies, censoring people on the internet and showing that we need some sort of decentralization. So that's Web 3.0. I'd love to know what you all think of it. Is it the future or is it right now? Let me know. And don't miss out on our next video episode where you'll learn about the multiverse and how it differs from the metaverse, which is something many people are unaware of. So strap in, relax, and get ready to carry on the journey, as before you know it, you'll be an expert in this industry. See you in the next one.